Set in the year 1982 in Antarctica, the story begins by showing three researchers who detect a strange signal coming from beneath the ice layer. As they position themselves right above the source of the signal, a sudden earthquake strikes, causing the ice to crack and the researchers to fall into a deep hole below. Cutting to a woman named Kate, a paleontologist, a scientist who studies ancient life through fossils. That day, Kate is visited by her close friend Adam, who arrives with another scientist named Dr. Sander. Dr. Sander explains that 2 days ago, a geologist friend of his discovered something mysterious beneath the ice in Antarctica. If Kate is willing, Dr. Sander would like to recruit her as one of the specialists to help investigate the discovery.
Trochu víc o tom, co mám
Je to struktura.
Struktura?
A jeden exemplář.
At first, Kate refused the offer because she still had responsibilities with her current job. However, after Dr. Sander revealed that the discovery involved the body structure of an unknown species, Kate's curiosity was piqued. Eventually, Kate agreed to join them. Led by Carter, the helicopter pilot, Kate and her team immediately set off for Antarctica.
Ahoj, háci Seekingu, přibližte se.
Ano! Tak vítejte!
Upon arriving at the site, Kate was immediately taken aboard a snowcat vehicle, heading toward the discovery site, specifically the crevice we saw earlier. In the opening scene, Kate and her colleagues entered the area and were then introduced to the leader of the expedition, a man named Edward, who proceeded to show them something truly beyond their imagination. And here was the something they were referring to, a giant alien spacecraft buried deep beneath the ice, its age unknown. But the real shock came when, not far from the ship, the researchers also discovered the frozen corpse of an alien creature preserved in the ice. Without wasting any time, they immediately cut and transported the block of ice containing the alien creature. At the main research camp, which served as the central base for the scientists, Kate and the rest of the team began measuring the length and thickness of the ice, in preparation for thawing. Dr. Sander then stated that he wanted to take a sample first, with the intention of conducting preliminary research.
A je to dobrý nápad.
Určitě.
Kate initially objected to the idea, assuming it would be extremely dangerous and highly risky to examine something they knew nothing about, especially since it was an alien creature not from Earth. However, Dr. Sander ignored Kate's warning and still proceeded to take a sample from the creature. After the sample was taken, Dr. Sander took Kate aside to privately warn her, saying that from now on, she must never defy his orders, especially in front of the rest of the team. He explained that doing so could undermine his authority and credibility, and that if Kate wanted to remain part of the team, then she had no choice but to follow all of Dr. Sander's commands. In short, night fell. Everyone gathered in a room, celebrating their success in discovering the alien creature, which was their greatest discovery. Meanwhile, one of the team members named Derek, who had just finished using the bathroom, decided to casually check on the block of ice containing the alien. Just as he was intently staring at the creature, suddenly, his friend startled him from behind, making Derek jump, But not long after his friend walked away, suddenly, Derek quickly informed everyone. At first, they thought he was joking. But Dr. Sander and the entire team were shocked when they realized that the creature was still alive. And so, misfortune began to unfold, because this was no ordinary situation. Dr. Sander then divided the team into 3 groups to search for the creature throughout the camp. Mistaking it for a conventional animal, they were far too naive to realize that this creature was no ordinary being, unlike anything they had ever encountered before. And yes, one of the team members, Henrik, was suddenly dragged down into a crawl space. His friend, Olaf, immediately ran to alert the others. Unfortunately, Henrik's life couldn't be saved. He was eaten alive by the alien creature. With no other choice, they were forced to burn his body. After the tension subsided, Olaf, who had been splattered with the alien creature's blood, went into severe shock and was immediately given a medical examination. Meanwhile, the charred remains of the alien creature were brought in, and Kate and her team prepared to conduct a thorough examination of its internal organs. And to everyone's shock, Henrik's body was still intact, perfectly preserved, almost as if it were freshly made. Dr. Sander theorized that perhaps the alien creature had absorbed all the fluids from Henrik's body. But then, when Kate discovered a metal bone support embedded in Henrik's arm, a new question began to arise.
Co je tohle?
After confirmation, it was revealed that Henrik had indeed been in an accident about a year ago, which required him to have a metal support implanted in his arm. But the strange part is, how could that metal piece come out while Henrik's arm remained completely intact? Could the metal have somehow come out on its own, without damaging the surrounding skin tissue? Curious about the matter, Kate immediately examined a sample of Henrik's blood and discovered something shocking. The alien cells were consuming Henrik's cells and regenerating them into new ones. From this, Kate drew a terrifying conclusion. The alien creature has the ability to imitate or replicate anything, or anyone, that it infects. The next morning, as Olaf was about to be taken to the hospital, Kate began to grow suspicious, wondering if perhaps Olaf had been contaminated by the alien's blood when it splattered on him the night before. However, without solid proof, she couldn't make any accusations. Kate had no choice but to hold back and hope that everything would be all right. Just as Olaf had boarded the helicopter, Kate, who was washing her face in the restroom, accidentally discovered 4 small metal dental fillings. Shocked, she began to realize that something was terribly wrong. Kate immediately ran outside and tried to warn Carter, but yes, it turns out that Olaf wasn't the one who was infected. Instead, another team member who had been in direct physical contact with the alien creature was the real host. His body split open, unleashing tentacles, causing the helicopter to crash behind the mountain. Unaware of what had actually happened, Dr. Sander urged everyone to leave the camp immediately. But Kate firmly warned, "Don't let anyone leave, because there's a chance that one of them is actually the alien creature that has already replicated a human form.
Ale to je nemožný. Chápu. Tak jo, Kate.
Hearing that, Dr. Sander and the team members naturally didn't believe her. As proof, Kate immediately showed the metal dental fillings she had found. She explained that the creature couldn't replicate inanimate objects such as metal. However, despite that, Dr. Sander still ignored her and insisted on leaving the place.
Nemůžete odjet. Nevíte, s čím si zahráváte.
Just after everyone had left and started packing, one of the researchers named Julia voiced her suspicions about a certain team member who was acting strangely. To make sure they didn't leave, Kate and Julia went to the room where the vehicle keys were kept. But just as Kate was about to grab the keys, suddenly,
3, 4.
yes, it turned out that Julia was the alien all along. While she was absorbing the fluids from a doctor's body, Lars appeared, armed with a flamethrower. Without hesitation, he fired the flames directly at her, and then... At night, Kate and the rest of the team immediately burned the bodies of everyone who had been contaminated, hoping there would be no further spread. At the same time, Dr. Sander and his team members looked toward Kate and finally believed everything she had said.
Mohl by to být kdokoliv.
Knowing that this alien creature can imitate anyone and hide within them, they decided to test everyone's blood to ensure the creature wasn't among them. In addition, no one was allowed to leave the camp until everything was truly safe. As a precaution, Kate and Lars also decided to disable all the vehicles at the site.
Už žádná vlna.
Verdict.
After deactivating all the vehicles, Kate was called over by Lars, who asked her to come. It turned out that Lars wanted to tell Kate about a stash of grenades hidden in the camp, just in case they might be useful later. Not long after, Carter and Derek appeared. They had survived the helicopter crash and were still alive, but Kate couldn't trust them right away. So, Carter and Derek were taken into the storage room and asked to stay there until the blood test could be completed. Adam was seen meticulously checking everyone's blood samples, until finally he decided to step outside for a moment, just to get some fresh air and clear his mind. But right at that moment, the lab room suddenly caught fire, burning all the equipment, including the crucial blood samples. With the fact that there was no other way to identify who the imposter was among them, Kate suddenly remembered about the metal object that couldn't be replicated by the alien creature. So Kate told everyone to gather to try out this method. Most adults typically have cavities due to bad eating habits. Usually those cavities are filled with metal fillings. Because of this, it wasn't hard for Kate to figure out who the imposter was among them.
Vidíš? Dobře, jo.
From this test, 4 people were confirmed to still be human, or safe: Peder, Jonas, Lars, and Kate herself. The others, like Dr. Sander, Edward, Adam, and Colin, claimed that their dental fillings were made of porcelain. So the question remained, were they truly safe? Or had they already been contaminated? Kate then remembered the fate of Carter and Derek, who were still locked up in the storage room. So, Kate told Jonas and Lars to bring them over, to make sure whether they were still human or not. However, when Lars and Jonas arrived at the storage room, Carter and Derek had already disappeared, after escaping through the wooden floor that had been broken open earlier. And yes, Lars was suddenly dragged into the darkness by something, and no one knew what happened to him. Jonas quickly returned to the camp to report what he had just witnessed, and yes, they suddenly heard the sound of shattering glass behind them and quickly rushed over to check. It turned out to be Carter and Derek. Somehow, Lars's flamethrower was now in their possession. Edward kept provoking Peder to burn them alive, which made Derek feel threatened, and in a panic, he fired several shots, instantly killing Peder on the spot. As a result of the gunfire, the gas canister of the flamethrower began to leak, causing an explosion that sent Edward flying and left him unconscious. Seeing this, Colin and Jonas rushed to help and carried the unconscious Edward to a room, until finally... Yes, it turned out that Edward had already been contaminated. A severed piece of Edward's hand, now part of the alien, crawled into Jonas's mouth. Meanwhile, Edward's body began to convulse, and suddenly sprouted long, alien-like tentacles that lashed out, attacking Adam and Derek, who were standing nearby. Not only that, the alien also mutilated Adam's body and transformed into a terrifying form, then managed to escape from the room. Since Carter remained silent, Kate took over the flamethrower and immediately burned Jonas and Derek, who had already been contaminated. Only Kate and Carter remained, along with Dr. Sander, who was hiding, in another room. But instead of avoiding the threat, Dr. Sander was approached by the alien, and then... Not long after Kate and Carter heard Dr. Sander's scream, they were suddenly attacked by a severed piece of the alien creature that was about to strike. Fortunately, they reacted quickly and managed to destroy the alien hand. They then headed to the room where Dr. Sander had been. Kate went to the room on the left, while Carter entered the one on the right, just moments after they split up. Carter was confronted by the alien, which immediately attacked him, and... Carter quickly ran into another room and hid inside, armed with a kitchen knife in his hand. Carter, terrified, could only stay silent, hiding behind a shelf, until finally... Yes! Kate suddenly appeared from behind and immediately burned the alien, causing it to crash through the wall and out of the camp. Not long after, Dr. Sander, who had already been contaminated, was seen driving a snowcat vehicle toward the alien spacecraft site. Kate and Carter immediately went after him. During the trip, Kate asked about Lars' condition and also how Carter managed to get his hands on Lars's flamethrower. Carter, who was wearing a gold earring in his left ear, explained that he didn't kill Lars. He had only knocked him unconscious and locked him in the storage room. Upon arriving at the alien spacecraft site, hidden beneath the ice, Kate and Carter walked carefully across the surface of the ship, and suddenly... Yes, the spacecraft suddenly powered up, causing Kate to fall inside. Kate got up and began walking to the other side of the ship, until she discovered what appeared to be a holographic interface that controlled the entire vessel. Yes. Alien Dr. Sander suddenly appeared from behind and immediately chased Kate into the spaceship corridor. The grenade Kate was carrying slipped from her hand and rolled out of reach. As the alien paused, Kate quickly grabbed the grenade. But realizing she had an opportunity, Kate quickly pulled the pin from the grenade and threw it into the alien's mouth, just as Carter arrived at the scene. And then, upon reaching the surface, Carter invited Kate to head to another camp, which wasn't too far from their current location. However, once they were inside the vehicle, Kate's expression suddenly turned to disappointment. She had just realized that the gold earring Carter usually wore was no longer there. That could only mean one thing. The Carter beside her wasn't the real Carter, but the alien that had replicated him. So, Kate immediately burned the creature right then and there. Kate, the sole survivor of this terrifying ordeal, walked away from the place, finally putting an end to her nightmare. The next morning, as the rescue helicopter arrived, Lars, who had been locked in the storage room, finally regained consciousness. Shortly after Lars confirmed that the helicopter pilot was not an alien, a dog suddenly ran out from the camp and bolted away. Without hesitation, Lars quickly chased it down and killed the dog, convinced that it had already been contaminated. Finished. The moral lesson from this movie is to learn from Dr. Sander, someone who cared too much about scientific discovery and forgot about the safety of others. He was too sure he was right, and in the end, put everyone in danger. From him, we learn that no matter how smart we are, we should never be arrogant or ignore the opinions of others. Because sometimes, excessive curiosity can lead to disaster. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next movie recap.